that was really bad housing.
It's all really bad housing. It's all a
Ooh.
bad housing joke.
It's a real bad housing joke, actually, Jago, to be honest.
Hit the
It's
bong
bad
housing.
house. It's the blowhousing, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the hour where there's nothing left to prove. Experimental lack of concern. It's a perfect world being burned. This is the maniacal hour. Pure 100% underground. Powered by the emotion of self-passion. This is how we get down. Extra read all about it. Evidence coming to take control. Extra read all about it. Evidence coming to take control. Lock and load, steal souls and watch it explode. Dispatch the death squad and watch it go. Serial killers, cadavers, murderous psychos. As the hour goes, it takes the time expires as we live dead, revitalized. Surprised by the high with red still in our eyes. The pleasure is all ours to give you the power. This is the maniacal hour.
You know, it just occurred to me watching that open that I have to update it already. There's been so much talent released from the WWE that the open's not even current anymore, Jimmy. We haven't even been doing the show that long.
Tell me about it, dude. Isn't it crazy? But more importantly, we might as well call this show the blowhousing.
The Blowhausen, you bet.
I
Man.
mean, shit. Might as well have Danhausen all over that intro, bro.
It's Jimmy T and Dr. Jargo, PhD, and we are back for a new edition of The Blow Off presented by the Hameen Media Group channel, attitude.com. Jimmy, where I am at Saturday morning, where you are, it's late Saturday night. How are things down under?
Good, man. Actually, quite peaceful and cool, bro. So I'm happy, man, because this heat lately, man, is just, oh, man, it's the worst.
This heat. Are you freaking
Oh,
kidding
I'm
me
telling
right
you,
now,
man.
bro?
Hey,
My
man, the only
God.
good thing is you can get your tan on, bro. You
Right
know what
now,
I mean?
right now it feels like it's negative 14 here in the Hawkeye State. I
Man,
mean,
like I said, I would switch for cold any day, bro.
yeah, you say that. It'd take all of about 3 days. 3 days, that's all it would take. And of course, I was looking at relocating out into the desert. That's not going to happen. So then I was looking at relocating to the tropics, and maybe that's not going to happen. And so now I'm even looking at relocating where there's more snow. Why would I do that? That's
You're
doesn't
kidding.
it just doesn't seem logical. It doesn't seem logical.
Oh,
Almost as
man.
illogical as Shane McMahon, Jimmy T. That is the lead story this week on the blow off. The Shane McMahon situation kind of blowing up. You and I did not get a chance to talk about the Royal Rumble, although I think I've talked about it on every other podcast on the face of the freaking planet over the course of the last week. What was kind of your takeaway from the Rumble and the way that this thing was booked? Because it seems as though we're just going to blame Shane McMahon for everything.
Well, I don't buy this story completely, dude. To be honest with you, man, I just
That's,
don't. There's something suspect about this sort of story, man. I mean, wasn't it not long ago that we're getting reports that Shane McMahon was one of the best people to work for?
see, and this is kind of my issue with this story too. And I've talked about this a lot of different places. We have known about Shane McMahon and his backstage dealings for 25 years at this point, right?
Easily, absolutely.
I've never heard anybody say a bad thing about Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon is the McMahon that everybody likes. Shane McMahon is the McMahon that wants to hang out with the boys. He would really like to be one of the boys, but his last name is McMahon, so he'll never be one of the boys. Then he became like this glorified stunt man who was
Yeah,
getting all these huge spots at WrestleMania, but at least they were just one-offs, and we all knew it was going to be a car crash. Don't ask Shane to throw a punch, just ask him to jump off the top of a cage, right? Like that
absolutely.
was fine. You know what I've never heard about Shane McMahon is that he only cares about Shane McMahon, that he's an egomaniacal, just absolute terror to work with. When did Shane McMahon start producing matches to begin with, let alone the Royal Rumble? Like, there's so much about this story that just does not add up for me at all because it's so out of character for Shane McMahon.
Well, like our good old co-host Chris Ams, this is straight up bullshit in the morning for both of us, Jago. Straight
Yeah.
up. I mean, this is just, I don't buy it, man. I can't believe there's people out there that totally buy this shit. You know what's even funnier, though? the fact that people in WWE have been calling up Tony Khan in AEW not to hire Shane McMahon, recommending not because it's just so egotistical. I mean, you can't sign this guy, man. He's the real poison, like Vince would say, right?
Okay, well, let's flip it a little bit. All right. Let's say that you're Tony Khan and you're sitting at home on Saturday morning and you're wondering who is going to be the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, because nobody wants to be the coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And you're having your morning coffee and you get a phone call from Greenwich, Connecticut. And you're like, who the hell's calling me from Greenwich, Connecticut? And you answer it and you pick up the phone and you hear, here comes the money.
Oh my God.
Here comes the money.
Money. But dude, that would actually pop me.
What is the value of bringing in Shane McMahon, even if he wanted to come? Like, I don't understand why Tony Khan would even want to bring in 52-year-old Shane McMahon other than to pop the people that are already watching the show. Like, I don't see what the value of Shane McMahon would be to AEW. I keep hearing this conversation and I just don't see it. Like, what would you even bring Shane in to do? Throw horrible punches? We have John Moxley for that.
All right, look, let's be honest, dude. I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, he's a McMahon. And the shock value...
So what?
I know, but just the shock value of bringing Shane McMahon into AEW would pop a pretty decent rating, in my opinion.
I don't think
just
it
for the
would.
shock value. You don't think so?
No.
I think it would. A temporary sort of,
I don't see what would you bring in 52-year-old Shane McMahon to do?
Just the shock value, man. Just the fact that he appears on AEW television. But then people will say conspiracy theories, maybe.
I mean, Mike Tyson didn't pop a rating for AEW. He's way more important than Shane McMahon.
Oh, absolutely. But Shane McMahon's kind of more relevant in a way. Not really, but
no, he's
Tyson's
not
around still. You know what I mean? He does his...
What makes Shane McMahon relevant other than he came out of Vince McMahon's penis? I mean, seriously.
I mean, well, that's it. That's his claim to fame, bro. He came out of the fucking genetic jackhammer himself, dude.
I mean, if you brought Shane McMahon into AEW, you know what would happen. He'd end up feuding with Cody for 6 months.
Oh, no. Jesus Christ. Can you imagine that?
Unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately, yes.
Oh, Jesus, man.
For me, I thought it was suspect that all of this comes out about Shane McMahon. And then just a couple of days later, we get the WWE financial reports.
Oh.
And I can't help but wonder if those two things are related. Now, I know everybody is going to tell me they made $1.1 billion last year. They had the most profitable year in the company's history. Why would they get rid of Shane McMahon before that? Jimmy, have you actually had a chance to read this report?
I actually haven't yet, but I've heard about it, and you were talking about it earlier on Uncaged, and it sounds like you said it's a big insult to the fans, apparently, right?
I mean, okay, so we have the very first paragraph that deals with anything having to do with anything financial. It's like the third paragraph of this entire statement. Fourth quarter consolidated results. Revenue increased 30% to $310.3 million. Number one, they didn't make $1.1 billion. They made $310.3 million.
Really?
Revenue and profit are two very different things.
100% correct.
Comma. Primarily due to the impact of large-scale international events, Saudi fucking Arabia, as well as higher ticket and venue merchandise sales resulting from the return to ticketed live events. This is all from TV and Saudi Arabia. I mean, as you actually look through this thing, every measurable fan interest metric is down year over year. And yet they're making more money than ever. Free cash flow, the amount of money that they play with on a daily basis, was $27.5 million.
Shit.
A decrease from $56.2 million.
Wow.
This is not good. Their, their,
That's
their,
not good.
their internal cash flow decreased almost by half. I mean,
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, man.
I don't think this is a good financial report. So what do we need to do? We need to take out the least important McMahon, the one who has absolutely nothing to do with any business going on anywhere inside of the company. We're not taking out Steph. We're not taking out Vince. We already took out Triple H.
Yeah, right. That's true, man.
Do
I
we
mean,
just take out Shane McMahon as the scapegoat here? Because as much money as they made, and they made a lot of money, business is not good for WWE if you read through this financial report.
that's crazy, man. I mean, it's a one big facade, WWE, in many ways, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, dude, I mean, first of all, I didn't even realize that Shane McMahon was even still part of the company, especially in the back and producing matches. I mean, did you hear anything of that in recent times?
No, nothing.
So that's a bit funny in itself. That's why I just call bullshit.
Why would you bring
all
in
this.
Shane McMahon to book the most important match over the course of the year? Like the Royal Rumble is more extensive than booking the WrestleMania main event. So
I
let's
agree.
bring in Shane McMahon to book the Royal Rumble. Really?
Really, Jugger? Yeah, I know. It just says bullshit, bro.
Doesn't make
I
any
just don't buy
sense.
it. It does not make any sense. Why like what I can't wrap my head around, why would Shane McMahon literally put himself over 52-year-old Shane McMahon, who just appears out of the blue, as what, suddenly he's gonna win the Rumble apparently or whatnot, or be in the final four?
As if it's
Come
his
on.
call.
Yeah. And he overpowered Vince because
Yeah.
he can. That's
Like
bullshit, dude. I just don't buy it, man.
there's so
And then-
much of this story that just doesn't check out and doesn't make any kind of logical sense.
I'm sorry. Yeah, this is literally, I feel WWE have created a little friggin' like bullshit Chinese whisper, dude. That's what it comes across as, just to put it out there. And unfortunately, there's a lot of fans out there and a lot of people that actually have fallen for this shit.
Yeah.
But I just don't see it.
No, there's way too much that doesn't make any kind of logical sense. And I'm sure that we'll be hearing a lot more about Shane McMahon in the. Do you write any of this up? Like, how much of this is let's try to work the dirt sheets and
Yeah.
this is all part of an angle?
100%. 100%, dude. That's what's going on here. Whether it turns into some sort of angle, I don't know.
I
But
mean,
this
my
is
question,
definitely-
somebody's getting worked. Is it the fans that are getting worked, or is it the TV networks and the stockholders that are getting worked? Somebody's getting worked.
Everybody.
Somebody's getting worked. But it ain't
Everybody's
us.
getting worked.
It ain't us. There's
not-
bullshit going on here. I don't buy it.
I smell balderdash.
Yeah, I'm with you. But one thing that did not make any kind of sense to me was the ending of the Royal Rumble. Not so much the Shane McMahon aspect of things, although he was there, but the Brock Lesnar part. And I'm not even objecting to Brock winning the Rumble. What I'm objecting to is Brock Lesnar comes out at number 30. Number one, who was supposed to be number 30? Like,
It was open-ended.
like, was Brock Lesnar planning on losing the championships just so he could enter the Rumble at number 30? Like, there's a big plot gap there. But when you look at everybody that was in the ring when Brock Lesnar came out, they're all baby faces.
Yeah.
Why would you do that to any of your baby faces, let alone Brock Lesnar? You're supposed to be building this up for this big successful moment. We're all going to rally behind Brock Lesnar. We want to see him get that championship opportunity so he can go on to WrestleMania and face off with Roman Reigns. But he has to eliminate Matt Riddle and Randy Orton and Shane McMahon, who's been presented as a babyface at this point. Like, everybody that was in the ring was a freaking babyface. So every time Brock Lesnar throws somebody out, you're deflating the crowd because that's somebody else that they like too. Why wouldn't you have like 4 heels in the ring when Brock Lesnar comes out? Because you're like, oh my God, I don't want Baron Corbin to win this thing. Oh, yay, Brock threw him out. Yeah, come on, Brock. But no, you got Drew McIntyre out there, RK Bro. And it's like, what the hell are you doing? You're chopping off Brock's balls and making all your baby faces look bad.
Well, first of all, you called the Jago on the blow-off a couple of weeks back. You mentioned that, we're going to get Roman versus Brock, right?
Right.
How they do it. And you came up with a great elaborate plan on how we can build to a Roman versus Brock match at WrestleMania. Heck, you even went one further by saying that we could possibly get a unification of the championships. And all signs point that we could possibly get that sort of match, right? So, man, just WWE, they're lazy with their booking, dude. You know what I mean? They just were trying to figure out a way how to get to Roman and Brock after they fucking fucked it themselves in the first place, right? They put themselves in this mess. And they just couldn't think. They're just being lazy, dude. And then that's what we got at the Rumble. You got Roman, for whatever reason, costing Brock Lesnar the WWE. That doesn't make sense. And then where does that leave Seth? Suddenly he's just going to forget about Roman?
Well, and that's part of my problem. The way that they did the Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins thing, you solidified Roman Reigns is still a heel, which I'm not sure that was necessarily the way to go.
It was go away heat, Jago. That was go away heat by the end of that match.
But you made Seth Rollins the biggest baby face in the freaking company with the beatdown that Roman puts on him. I mean, you choke him out. He's in the ropes, so he gets DQ'd. That gets a bunch of heat. Then he beats him to death with a freaking chair, and it's like, okay.
While still holding onto the rope, dude.
But so it's like, okay, so at least we're getting more aggressive Roman. Like, we're adding another dimension to this character. And then they even went away from that when Roman comes out to interfere in the Brock Lesnar-Bobby Lashley match. So and he's cool, calm, and collected Roman again, who just extends his hand to Paul Heyman.
And you called that too, Jago.
But it feels so disconnected. Like, I'm fine with the result. I'm fine with where they're going, but the presentation of how they're getting
there. Right, exactly. It's pathetic, dude. You know what I mean? They could have done so much more.
And then you turn Seth Rollins into the biggest babyface in the company. I mean, I very much feel like that was what they did.
Right.
And you turn Bobby Lashley into a chicken shit, undeserving heel.
Chicken shit, bro. That's what he is.
Brock Lesnar had him down for a count of 20. A count of 20. There were 40,000 people counted to 20. And then Bobby Lashley celebrates like he just won the freaking gold medal in Beijing. Like, look at me. I just beat Brock Lesnar.
Sure you did, Bobby.
And it feels so wrong. Like, I'm fine with Lashley beating Lesnar if that's what you want to do, but don't do it like that.
Not just that, dude. By the end of the pay-per-view, right? Oh, sorry, premium event. My bad. Sorry, Vince. By the end of it, who felt more over, Bobby Lashley or Brock? After Brock winning the Rumble, everyone forgot that Lashley was even the WWE champion.
And Brock didn't need to win the Rumble. Like, Brock is no more over after winning the Rumble than he was going into the Rumble. He's Brock Lesnar. He's already over.
That's it, man. And he didn't need to win. This does nothing for Brock, dude.
No.
Really, it does absolutely nothing for Brock, nothing for Roman, other than damaged him even more by now getting that go-away heat once again that they didn't want in the first place, right? Not just that. I mean, dude, like Seth Rollins, again, like they've screwed themselves, dude. They've shot themselves in the foot. They've made Kevin Owens look weak. I mean, weak as piss as well. Drew McIntyre, who the fuck is this guy, man, with the sword? Seriously. What is he?
I think Drew needs to turn heel. I've been feeling that way for probably about 6 months now. Drew just feels dead in the water to me. Like he has no momentum at this point.
Nothing. And he looks like $1 million, dude.
Look, but I mean, we've seen Drew and Brock, we've seen Drew and Roman, and doesn't really work out very well for Drew. The only time it works out well for Drew is when there's no fans there to cheer or boo Drew. Like, I like Drew McIntyre a lot as a talent, but he is just floundering in the water at this point, really, since he lost the WWE Championship.
He was just that COVID era champion, man, where no one got to see him in person while being the champion, which burns him, dude.
And the same thing with Big E. Like, he's just dead in the water.
I'm hearing that they could give him the WWE Championship as early as just after WrestleMania, or even at Mania, possibly, if somehow Big E gets himself into a WrestleMania sort of WWE title match. But I thought he was a weak champion, in my opinion, dude.
There's a lot of talk at this point about who is going to be facing Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania. Of course, he's going to be in the Elimination Chamber. I don't even know if Vince and company know who the WWE champion is going to be going into
God.
WrestleMania, let alone who the challenger is going to be. I don't even know if they know who the champion is going to be. I'm not sure that Crown Prince bin Salman has called up Vince and said, so-and-so is going to win the Elimination Chamber. Like, I don't know if
Goldberg.
Vince even knows.
Goldberg.
Well, no,
They
because
wa-
Goldberg is going after Roman. So I
Right.
mean that program is going to be separate. Like it got
Does
out
that
that
make sense too?
it got out that I was on to them that we cannot put a Jew in the Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia.
Goldberg.
So instead, we're going to have Goldberg and Roman Reigns over for the SmackDown side. We'll talk about Oldberg here in a second.
Oh,
Uh,
what about Strasbourg cheese?
but is it even Vince's call who the champion is going to be? Or do they just wait for Ben Salman to tell them who they want to win the Elimination Chamber and then book the WrestleMania main event off of that? I hate these shows. I've always hated these shows, but I particularly hate this show the month before WrestleMania because there's
my
no
God,
time to
that's
course
true, man.
correct. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Like, because the booking and what they do in Saudi Arabia is like a completely different universe.
It is literally.
Doing it 4 weeks before WrestleMania just does not work. We've seen it the last 2 years, and it's why Manias fell flat the last 2
Oh.
years.
Absolutely flat. I mean, I don't even look forward to WrestleMania like I used to, dude. It's
Nope.
more like a chore now, man.
They're even damaging the WrestleMania brand at this point, and I thought that was bulletproof.
Right. I mean, it's WrestleMania. It was bulletproof, dude. You're right. Spot on, man. And that's why I don't understand this family, dude. I mean, some people say sabotage, like self-sabotage. Other people say they might looking at selling. But when you look at what their finances, right? I mean, it makes sense why they would have probably released so many wrestlers as they did, man.
Yeah, because it's not like they made $1.1 billion last year.
Right. But apparently they did, according to, every smart body out there.
Just
Revenue.
absolutely crazy.
Revenue.
Yeah, right. And they're going to make more money next year because the TV rights fees go up. I mean, it's just.
But do you think they'll
It's
actually,
insane.
do you think, say, Fox or, Universal NBC, USA Network, do you think they will up the ante and actually offer more money to WWE to keep Raw or SmackDown?
I don't think so.
Imagine that.
I don't think so. Especially
what
with the
happens?
amount of money that NBC has lost off of the Olympics last year and this year. I don't think so. I mean, they paid $77 billion for the Olympics.
Shit.
And
For
then it
real?
happens
77 billion.
And then it happens during a global pandemic twice.
Oh, that's stupid. That's a bad
I
business
mean-
decision. Whoever made that business decision
Well,
should
the
get
thing
fired
is,
right now.
those decisions are made so far in advance.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. That's true.
But nobody is watching it. There's no ad revenue. I mean, NBC is going to have to make up that revenue somewhere. And I don't see them giving WWE $1 billion to keep Monday Night Raw at this point. Because even when I watch Monday Night Raw, look at the ads that are airing.
Oh
during
my
Monday Night Raw.
God, dude. That's another thing that actually drove me nuts watching Raw this past week. The amount of commercials, dude. That's what it really is that absolutely destroys the show too, man.
But there's no
I'm telling
high
you.
value commercials. Like, you're not
No.
getting the beer sponsors. You're not getting
Yeah.
the automobile sponsors. Like, those are the actual advertisers that pay a lot of money.
Like Castrol GTX back in the day and
Right.
shit like that.
You're getting Papa John's.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean?
Getting progressive.
Look at the ads that are airing and what's not airing that they should be getting. That's always something
Right.
that is fun for me to watch with Monday Night Raw and Dynamite. Like,
Yeah, it's
just look
true.
at the difference in the sponsors for the shows.
Right, but AEW is very much the liberal show, right? I mean,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
it's so like that both companies represent one the left, the other the right. It's kind of like I don't know, man.
I don't feel like WWE has a whole lot of political.
Oh,
Not at this point. Like, really not since Trump went into office.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, that's
like they
true.
really tried to separate themselves from any kind of,
yeah,
at least on the show itself. Like, we know the McMahons absolutely go to the right. For the love of God, Linda McMahon was on Donald Trump's cabinet.
absolutely.
But I mean, I don't see any of that bleeding out through television.
Yeah, I mean that's true, man, and that's why I hate when people bring up like conspiracy theories, like look, WWE is Illuminati or whatever, right?
Oh, well,
What make
I fully buy into that shit.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a pay per view. Remember the one in Canada? I can't remember. If it was the fun. I think it was the Canadian Stampede in Calgary. I was watching that not too long ago, dude. And during the intro, Vince had his hand right in his jacket, right, like like exactly like that, tucked in. That's supposed to be Illuminati symbolism right there. But
Well, I mean,
it's
like, the
also
Monday
professional
Night Raw
wrestling.
Open has, like, the all-seeing eye and shit all
Oh
over
yeah,
it. It's
definitely.
crazy.
Absolutely does. But my point is though, it's professional wrestling, they
Right.
play off society. So they play off like the NWO is a good example. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
It's interesting because I'm trying to think, like, if you had a conservative, like, far right character,
Oh.
I'm curious how the fans would respond to that at this point.
I guess it depends what state they're in, dude. Like when you think about it.
Hmm. I'm
Yeah.
curious how that would go over.
Oh man. I'd love to see that though in some ways, man. Like when you think about it, it'd be good, but
Well,
if
because I
anyone
mean, like
can
like people would be calling to cancel the character, and that would kind of be the point. You know what I
right.
mean? Like that's
That's
exactly the heat that you would be going for.
absolutely. I mean, look at Ivory coming back at the Royal Rumble with as right to censor, right? I mean, that popped me, dude. You know what I mean? Because the right to censor right now would be so relevant in terms of professional wrestling. It would be mega over, dude.
You know who it's got to be?
What's that?
It's got to be Stevie Richards.
Absolutely.
I mean,
It's Steven Richards actually.
have him
Jagger.
come out as the right to censor
Right.
Steven Richards and just talk about how we won.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
We
I'd love
won.
that, man. That'd be awesome, man. Shout out to Steven Richards because man, I'd love to see him have that one last run as Steven Richards and right to censor, man. Because when you think about it,
They
that got
won.
him up on the upper echelon of the card, dude. There
Yeah.
was even talk of him winning the WWF whatever championship at some point.
Well, he should have. He
Absolutely. I
should
mean,
have.
right to censor was over, man.
Yeah.
It really was.
Speaking of guys making one last run, let's talk about Oldberg.
Oh God, let's talk about Oldberg.
Evidently, Oldberg showed up on SmackDown last night. Hasn't done anything. Hasn't won a match in quite a while. He just comes back to lose big matches at this point. But we're coming up on blood money, so I want to get my ass kicked by Roman Reigns. That
Goldberg.
I
You know what, man?
I'm just over Goldberg.
Oh man, at this point, are we going to get a Bin Salman invitational sort of tournament
Like
at
a Shogi
Blood Money?
Classic.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I wasn't sure because we were talking about that off the air. But let's call a spade a spade. Like a Shogi Classic, I wouldn't put it past them, man. I don't want to laugh, but damn, like seriously. I mean, when you think about it, they would probably do something stupid like that anyway, man.
I mean, that would rank right up there with the Chinese government getting a bunch of Chinese children together to sing Imagine by John Lennon at the Olympics opening ceremony. I could not believe they did that. I was like, are
Stranger
you
Things.
freaking kidding me right now?
Stranger things happen, Jugger, on
Wow.
this planet. I mean, heck, who would have thought John Cena himself talks Mandarin?
Well, of course he does. I mean, it's John
Ni
Cena.
hao.
I'm
Ni
not
hao.
even sure John Cena is not the leader of the World Economic Forum, but
He's a cyborg, dude.
Goldberg, on the other hand, I mean, this is just something for Roman to do in Saudi Arabia, right? Like that's all this is.
This is just for Roman to play in his little playpen, dude. You know, eat up a bit of something. You know what I mean? Eat a bit of Goldberg. You know, do his ooh rah, and back home he goes, dude. I mean, well, seriously, are we going to get a possible Goldberg Universal Championship run once again, dude? At what 78 at this point? I'm only joking, but seriously,
no. I mean, I do not think Goldberg is going to beat Roman Reigns. In no way, shape, or form.
you never know, bro.
Well, especially when it comes to a Saudi Arabia show. But in the meantime, we've got Brock over in the Elimination Chamber doing the Monday Night Raw Championship thing. Is there any chance that Brock Lesnar just wins that match and we do Brock and Roman to unify the title at WrestleMania the way that the Beast talked about on Monday Night Raw?
Why not? I mean, shit. I mean,
Why?
them two.
I mean,
I'll tell you why. Because they don't have enough time to salvage half this roster, dude. Right now,
I think
between
the
now and
Rumble kind of
WrestleMania,
exposed how thin this roster is right now.
big time, and not just thin. They absolutely destroyed all their baby faces. Randy Orton looked like a little bitch, pretty much.
But you
by the
had
end of
the
it.
baby face beat up all the baby face. Like, just doesn't. I don't understand.
Hey, Randy. I mean, seriously, think about that.
Okay, could we get down with Matt Riddle winning the WWE Championship inside of the Elimination Chamber and doing Riddle and Orton for the WWE Championship, as we've kind of heard talked about?
Yeah, but this is just, chatter, dude. That's all this is. It won't happen because let's be honest, I don't think that would be the main event.
Oh, regardless, the Raw Championship match, I'm already thinking is going to open night 1 of WrestleMania. Because I'm not sure that championship's not going to change hands twice between now and then. Like in the span of 3 months, you could have 4 title changes with that belt.
Right. And they're hot-shotting it too right now, dude.
They're
I mean,
throwing shit against the wall, just hoping that something sticks. I mean, you have Brock wins the championship at day 1. He loses it to Lashley. Lashley loses it at the Chamber. The title changes hands again at WrestleMania. Like, you could be looking at 4 or 5 title changes within like the first 3 months of the freaking year.
What's wrong with these guys, man? Come on. I mean, seriously, why are they doing? Are they that sort of indecisive? You know what I mean? Like they can't actually make their decisions right. Like, are they really changing things to the hour? You know what I mean? It is crazy, man. I'd love to be a fly on the wall right now in WWE because I don't understand how this company is running right now. I know everyone says it's Vince, and it probably is, but morale in WWE must be at an all-time low, man. But then again, you got Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn signing new contracts and long-term deals too.
And I'm not sure that was a bad idea for either one of those guys.
I
really.
agree.
I
I
mean,
know, for real. I agree. I mean, he said it. It is what it is, man. He done what was better for his family, dude. That's what Kevin Owens said. And at the end of the day, whether you agree with this or not, WWE still is the be-all and end-all, unfortunately or fortunately, in the world of professional wrestling.
Yeah, but I feel like that is changing. Like, I don't feel like it's nearly as definitive as it once was.
Slowly but surely, AEW is creeping up with him, you know what I mean? But the thing is, man, when I watch AEW and then after watching WWE, I can't help but sometimes, AEW can come across as a parody of professional wrestling too, at times.
Absolutely.
Which kind of annoys me. But it doesn't happen all the time, you know what I mean? Whereas WWE at least try to sort of present something serious, right? Well, they're trying to, but it's not coming across like they are. It's just weird, dude. The way they book shit is just strange, man. You get a good show here and there, and then it sucks for like 10 weeks straight.
Like, you would think Ronda Rousey winning the Women's Royal Rumble.
Oh, yes.
Like, people would be ecstatic about that. Instead, they had to pipe in fake crowd noise for Ronda Rousey Monday night on Raw. And then
she was a deer in the headlights on Monday, dude. Let me tell you that.
She did not look like she wanted to be there Monday night.
Nah, man. That was awkward, Jago.
Although I was very happy to hear Becky Lynch call Ronda Rousey a little weirdo again. That's one of my favorite things in all of pro wrestling. Ronnie, you little weirdo. That just cracks me up. But now we know it's going to be Charlotte and Rousey at WrestleMania. But I got to thinking about this, and this does not work.
I agree.
Because this would effectively turn Charlotte babyface. Charlotte does not work as a babyface. I do not think people are going to cheer Ronda Rousey. I just don't.
Think so?
I think we saw the seeds planted last night on SmackDown with Charlotte saying that she was going to challenge Sasha Banks for WrestleMania. I think this ends up a triple threat. I think this ends up Rousey versus Charlotte versus Sasha, because people are going to rally behind Sasha Banks. At least there'll be somebody that people want to cheer inside of this match. Charlotte will play the tweener and Rousey's going to be the heel. That's just how I see it.
But see, my issue is, right, no one gives a shit about that match. Just be honest, all right? the money match is in big time Bex versus Ronda Rousey. I'm sorry, man. That's what the fans generally really want to see compared to Charlotte and Ronda. You know what I
Well,
mean?
this is just further evidence of what I've been saying. It was here, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. People were talking about how Charlotte was unhappy with her booking.
Right.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Wasn't
Is
she
there
champion even then?
anybody in the history of the company that has been pushed harder, longer than Charlotte Flair?
You're right. I mean, if there's anybody,
you got to go back to Bruno.
Oh God,
She's
I
booked
just-
stronger than Hogan was.
I think they're fearful of actually losing her, dude. Really, and I think that's why they book her as strong as they do, man. But at the same time,
Like, what do you have to complain about when it comes to your booking if you're Charlotte Flair?
it's true. Again, I don't buy half this shit, dude, anymore. I mean, there's a lot of caca out there, dude. I mean, really,
Oh, yeah.
a lot, man. Like a lot. You know what generally is true or false? This doesn't totally work for me either, man.
Do you think people will cheer Ronda Rousey? Because I don't, especially after what I saw Monday night on Raw. I do not think people are going to cheer Ronda Rousey as a babyface.
Well, to be fair, they were in Cincinnati. I mean, the fans there, I mean, for WWE anyway, they didn't give a shit about who was out there, to be fair, right? Compared to AEW, a whole different ballgame. But anyway, back to that. I mean, she was struggling you could tell she was trying to think of her lines, dude. And then it looked like she wanted to cry at one point, man, right there on the spot. But she pushed through it. But dude, she was struggling, bro.
She's not a likable person. She's
Right.
just not.
I
And
mean,
she's
she
not the
was-
baddest woman on the planet anymore.
Not
That was
anymore,
5
definitely.
years ago.
Damn, has it been that long already, dude?
She got knocked the fuck out 5 years
Fuck.
ago.
And that happened in my neck of the woods, dude, in my hometown, Melbourne. Can you believe that shit? By Holly Holm.
I don't.
Crazy.
And it killed the star power of Ronda Rousey, the myth around Ronda Rousey when that
Yeah,
happened.
that's true. She was one of those fighters, man, that once she got a loss,
Yep.
that aura was
And
just gone.
She's very emotionally unstable. And
She is, that's true.
we've seen that going back to when she was in Strikeforce, her
Even
entire
with her
career
mother,
through
her upbringing,
UFC,
right? And the
I mean,
judo stuff.
on the Ellen DeGeneres show,
Oh.
just having a complete freaking meltdown. Like, Ronda Rousey's a very emotional person, and I don't think she's cut out for the world of professional wrestling.
Not on a full-time basis, no way. I think the travel really does get to her, man. And just the fact that she's probably have to think of shit, you know what I mean, all the time, I think it just blows her brain. No pun intended, you know what I mean? I think you're right, man. Don't be surprised if Ronda Rousey absolutely takes off from WWE a lot quicker or sooner than we all think. Because people think she's going to have a good 1 or 2 year run. I don't know about that, man.
I'm kind of with you. Let's shift. Let's talk about some AEW. I want to talk about Adam Cole. We talked about it on Uncaged last night. I think Adam Cole coming out after that match last night and issuing a mission statement of saying, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to do. I'm tired of all this bullshit. I know all you as viewers are tired of this bullshit. Look at all these jabronis that I've beaten. I'm getting my heat because I'm still saying I'm undefeated, even though you all clearly saw me got pinned by Orange Cassidy. Doesn't count. It was a lights out match. I've
true.
moved on from it.
That's
So
true.
you all move on from it too. I want next. It doesn't matter who wins the AEW Championship Wednesday night in a Texas death match, even though we have absolutely no heat and the program's cold.
No
going
heat,
in.
man.
Why is it a Texas death match other than it's going to be in Texas and you got a cowboy involved? I mean,
Yep.
Adam Cole
And a guy
doesn't
from
care.
Texas.
Adam Cole doesn't care. He just wants next because he wants to be the AEW World Champion. I thought this was great last night.
About fucking time.
Right?
That's what I want to say, man. This was the exact Adam Cole that we were meant to have in the first place, really, man.
This is what we
Finally.
wanted last September.
Right. Instead, we had a joke. Like, really, like a joke, a parody of Adam Cole, baby. You You know what I mean? You know what, man? He didn't even say a baby during that whole promo.
I
And
think there
man,
was one.
was there?
I think there
I don't
was
recall.
one. But it
Well,
was kind of in passing. It wasn't like a full Adam Cole, baby, I'm trying to light up the crowd, y'all
right,
chant
right.
along with me. It was just like as part of the promo as I'm talking about Adam Cole, baby, and then he just kept on going with what he was talking about. Like it wasn't very pronounced.
Right, and it definitely wasn't story time with Adam Cole, baby. You know what I mean? This was, from the heart, dude. He literally, that's how he feels. I truly think that's exactly how he feels. And I think he's right when he says we need to respect him, man, because let's be honest, Jago, we've all absolutely gave it to him since he's been in AEW. Let's be honest, right?
Well, the
We
booking
absolutely give him
has
shit.
deserved it.
Right, and he knows that. But this promo, I'm telling you, it's clearly his best in NXT. I mean NXT, AEW. But you know what, man? I dare say it's one of his best promos ever, man.
I liked it because it was just Adam Cole. No Young
Right.
Bucks, no Red Dragon, no Elite, nothing attached to it. It was just Adam Cole going out there, kicking Evil Uno's head in and saying, hey, in case you forgot, I'm one of the best pro wrestlers on the planet. I was taught by Shawn Michaels. I kind of look like, 1997 Shawn Michaels, and I'm ready to realize my boyhood dream and become the AEW world champion. I thought it was a great promo. I think the problem is it's going to be Hangman Page that's going to be the champion. Lance Archer is not going to win that title.
No,
That's
no
very
way.
clear to everybody. Are people
Lance
going to
Archer-
cheer Hangman Page over Adam Cole?
I don't know, man. Like I really don't know because it truly can go either way, man.
And
Because for whatever reason, the fans get behind Hangman still.
if you put the title on Adam Cole, doesn't that kind of present a problem the way that he's kind of been presented, because he's still being framed as a heel, which means you're going to have to book him against baby faces, and he's going to get cheered as the heel over just about any baby face in that company right now.
It's true, man, but now's not the right time. Let's build him up from now. Yeah, we can't be talking about AEW World Championship runs with Adam Cole just yet.
Well,
give him a good 2-3 months to actually build him up to where he's back and you can take him serious. Everybody can take him serious because as of now, he's wrestled no one but jokes, man.
Well, what I'm wondering is this all going to play into the return of Kenny Omega?
Yeah, I think it will.
I mean,
absolutely will.
I think if Adam Cole becomes AEW champion, then Kenny Omega returns. You could be looking at Adam Cole versus Kenny Omega come Double or Nothing, and that does sound like a Double or Nothing main event to me.
It does. There's only one concern I have about that type of matchup, though.
What's that?
The bullshit skits that's going to come along with it, man. I hope they take it dead serious, but there's going to be a lot of stupid skits, dude. Like, Kenny's like, I thought you were dead. You know what I mean? Like, Adam, it'll be a lot of that bullshit. And that's the only thing I'm concerned about.
I'm really intrigued what they do with Kenny when Kenny comes back.
Me too. Man, I'm looking forward to him making a comeback because at this point, I feel like without him, man, the show even feels a little flat for me, man. I don't know. Like I said, everyone knows how much of a Kenny mark I am. I still think he's the best professional wrestler right now in the ring in terms of worker, you know what I mean? Not in terms of complete package. Just I enjoy his matches, man. His matches always entertain me.
I love me some Kenny Omega.
Absolutely.
I wish he would clearly define his character at this point and stop with all the goofy bullshit. I mean,
and he was sort of stopping towards the end, but then he got injured. So
he was
already injured.
I love the promo that he cut for Hangman Page right after losing the title, where he's putting over Hangman like, hey, you were the better man. I'm going to go and I'm going to do this. And he even put over that he hadn't watched the match yet at that point. So he didn't see the Young Bucks kind of give Hangman the nod. Like there's a lot of very interesting parts.
They left it open-ended, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. And then of course, Adam Cole chiming in. Oh, I'll take care of it, cleaner. Yeah, I wasn't talking to you.
Cleaner.
Like I think there's a real interesting dynamic to see there. And I'm really curious how that plays off, and having the title involved Wasn't something I was even thinking about, but it does make a lot of sense.
Oh, it does, and I think it'll be a good sort of blow-off matchup between Adam Cole and Kenny Omega, where it's for one of the biggest prizes in the whole of this business, dude. I mean, it would be magical for both of them. I mean, they're both close, as we all know.
Man, I almost wonder if that's where you do a double turn. Turn Kenny. Have him leave with the Bucks and Red Dragon.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Red Dragon, though?
Oh, yeah. Take everything away from Adam Cole. And then let people rally around a sympathetic Adam Cole. He just lost all of his friends, got beat up, lost his belt. Like I could kind of get down with that. Because I do like Kenny better as a heel.
Oh, yeah, me too, man. Me too. Like the good thing about Kenny being a babyface, right? He kind of takes his matchups a lot more serious. The way he wrestles stylistically. He's
got the Sammy Guevara thing. Where his offense is so flashy
and it's heelish, really, though.
But you want to cheer him as a babyface because he's so good, so cool. and the offense is so high impact and the crazy spots.
I mean, come on, a V-trigger is not a babyface signature move, dude. It's nowhere near a babyface signature move. I mean, I'd love to hear Devil Sky one more time, dude, in AEW. That would pop me, man. I don't feel his current thing, but yeah. Look, I'm looking forward to when Kenny comes back. I'm hearing March. I'm hearing even as far as August. I just don't know when we get him. When do you think we'll actually see him, possibly?
I'm still being optimistic that we have Kenny back in the ring for Double or Nothing in May.
Yeah, that's good middle ground, because I wouldn't be surprised if he does come back like in August. Because if you notice, did you notice on Rampage, he's not in the intro anymore, dude? No. Which could mean that he could be gone for it's till August possibly, dude. I mean, a good year. He could be out for the whole year. You know what I mean?
The longer he's gone, the more he has to come back a babyface. He has
for sure, man.
Don't do the Seth Rollins thing to him, where he comes back, the place erupts for him as a babyface, and then he comes out on Dynamite and heals on all the fans. I mean,
that was so stupid.
Oh, just don't do that. Don't do that.
Man, there's potential of that, though, to happen, Juggo. I could so see that happening, man, but it's so dumb.
And Jimmy, we also forecasted another one between this show and Rampage Uncaged. You know what we talked about? The Legion of Dragons. Bryan Danielson, he planted the seeds this week. Danielson and Moxley are going to form the Legion of Dragons. Jesus Christ. I dig this a lot. I thought they were going to Bryan versus Moxley, and I was like, you got to be really careful. This doesn't come across as Dean Ambrose versus Daniel Bryan. And then Danielson cut that promo, bro. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to see a fight. I want to see you guys together. I absolutely want to see you guys together.
Dude, I felt like, what are they doing though with Danielson at the same time, man? Are they like, is he like all over the place now? Is he babyface? Is he heel? Like, what the fuck is he, dude?
I thought he said one line that was so good on Dynamite when he said, listen, these people don't even like me, but they like this. And I was like, yep, I like this a lot. Give me a heel Danielson and a babyface Moxley together. I think this could be a wonderful relationship.
It sounds like twins. Yeah, can you imagine that?
I mean,
a babyface Moxley and a heel Danielson.
And if anybody knows how to do this, it's Bryan Danielson. This is Team Hell No.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, well, it is. I mean, Danielson was the heel in Team Hell No, and Kane was the face. So, yeah. Except I think this time would be much more entertaining because Danielson seems very confident now, man.
And it would be a very different presentation. This would be two guys with a mutual respect who don't necessarily like each other's tactics, but they go out there and just destroy people. You have the violence of Jon Moxley and the technical prowess of Bryan Danielson. I like this a lot, man.
No, absolutely. It'd be entertaining, man. But the thing is, who's going to beat him?
Well, I mean, I guess that's part of the intrigue, right?
Like who? Like seriously, think about the tag team division over there, right? What, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus?
Well, I feel like that's part of the story, right? Like we had a guy dressed up as a dinosaur as one of the AEW tag team champions. Like, let's go
Right.
fix this. And maybe you get you okay, let's talk about the tag division. You got, the potential of the Briscoes, you got
Well, I'm still waiting for that.
FTR, you got the Young Bucks, you've got Red Dragon, you've got LAX, I
Right.
mean, like the tag division's pretty like any of those teams that have teamed together for years that are, one of the best tag teams in the world. I could see being Moxley and Danielson,
Right.
whether it be 3 months from now or 3 years from now, who knows?
On paper, it looks great, especially
Hell
to the
yeah.
hardcore fan base, right? Like, let's be honest, because a lot of them aren't mainstream stars yet either. You know what I mean? So we got to like take that into consideration.
I mean, even like Private Party versus the Legion of Dragons sounds appealing to me.
Yeah, only if they murder him though.
Well, yeah.
Just total murder. I mean, like, oh man,
Oh,
they
I
should
want
be.
to see John Silver and Alex Reynolds versus the Legion of
Oh,
Dragons. I'm just throwing it out there. I want to see it. I want to see it because I just want to see the Legion of Dragons murder.
all right, think of this. They could be the modern day version of the Blade Runners of Ultimate Warrior and Sting. Now think about and hear me out. I'm not
Yeah.
saying the way they work, obviously. The Blade Runner, Sting, and Ultimate Warrior could not work for shit at that time. Right? But they were two big kick-ass dudes that just murdered everybody. Literally. Have them two just run freaking through the whole division, dude. For quite a while, man. Like, you got Danielson kicking the shit through this guy, that guy.
And you can blow it up whenever you want. And
Literally.
you've got a 3-month program coming out of it. I mean,
for sure, man. I mean, that's true. Like, it sounds entertaining, man. Just, I don't have the confidence that AEW will be able to figure this shit out properly. As long as, although if Moxley and Danielson have free reigns, then that's a different story.
Yeah, a very different story. I'm down for it. I want to see it.
For sure.
I'm also down to see MJF versus CM Punk Part 2. I thought there were a lot of good things about this match that went down on Wednesday, and there were some things I really didn't like about the match as it went down on Wednesday. I could have went without the false finish. A referee finally growing balls to enforce the rules inside of AEW just falls on deaf ears at this point because you've blown up your narrative so many times. People get away with so much shit, let alone Bryce Remsburg to be the guy that's going to throw down the gauntlet and be like, no, we're going to enforce the rules. But then you have coming right out of that spot, Punk rolls up MJF and Bryce gives him a fast count. And it's just like, wait a minute, what the hell is going on here?
Nick Patrick again, dude? Is that what's going on here?
I don't know. I didn't like that spot whatsoever. Very much took me out of the match, but I loved the finish. And most specifically the camera work that went into the finish. When you get that face off with Punk and Wardlow, you don't see him hand MJF the ring. You get the finish, and then we got to go back to the replay from another angle because holy shit, you've got to see what just happened. I thought that was all masterfully done. I enjoyed the hell out of that.
I agree 100%, although I saw this coming months ago, Jago. I mean, I knew this is one of the most sort of obvious kind of feuds in many ways. I mean, I knew Wardlow wasn't going to turn. Everyone was convinced that Wardlow was going to leave.
Oh, I still think he's going to turn.
Not yet, though.
I imagine probably at whatever the blow-off is for this match.
Don't be surprised if this runs all year long, dude.
Oh, I think this ends at Revolution.
Revolution?
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if we get sort of like a 3 stages of hell type of match. And I'm not talking about like all in one night. Possibly you got a cage match between them. So, I don't know what else they can come up with, some gimmick sort of AEW type matchup, like a War Games. What do they call it? What do they call the War Games?
Blood and Guts.
Blood and Guts, that's it. Have Team Punk against Team MJF as in the Pinnacle. That would be an interesting sort of side blow-off between the groups, you know?
See, I feel like throughout this entire program, Punk has talked about how MJF can't win matches by himself, right?
That's
like
true.
that's very much been the build of this thing. You finally get to the match and MJF wins, but he can't win without Wardlow, right? So to me, the only logical place for this to go is at Revolution. We have MJF versus Punk in a cage,
Right.
to keep everybody else out.
Yeah.
Wardlow comes out, and when MJF looks for help, Wardlow's like, no.
Yeah. And,
And-
this is the
and
JR
that's-
moment too.
That's what ends up leading to Punk getting the win, because Wardlow wouldn't help MJF. Punk gets the win, leaves the cage. Wardlow goes in, finally turns on MJF, and then your program leading up to Double or Nothing is MJF versus Wardlow.
Right. And don't be surprised if it ends up a career versus hair match.
Okay, so now if you have MJF versus Wardlow going into Double or Nothing, Punk gets that win. That has to make Punk the number one contender, right?
Right. I thought he was. No, it was Adam Cole that was number one contender, right?
Adam Cole, I know, is number 2 currently.
Oh, so he dropped now since he lost to Orange Cassidy. Because I remember last week he was number one contender. So who's number one right now?
I think it's probably got to be MJF.
All right. See, this is where I'm confused. I just want to ask you, right? If you're number one contender,
Well,
right.
but I feel like Cole threw down the challenge. If the champion
Right.
accepts the challenge, that predecessors over all the ranking stuff, especially with the way MJF won that match. Tony Khan can be like, no, you've got to beat Punk and then you can have your championship match. But I don't think MJF wins that match. I think Punk wins that match. So you can always go to the rubber match down the road, right?
Right. Absolutely. Right.
But
Yeah,
so
and
if Punk's
sorry.
the number one contender coming out, are we going towards CM Punk versus Adam Cole at Double or Nothing for the AEW Championship? If Adam Cole takes the title from Hangman, I feel like Cole and Punk could be a lot of fun too.
Oh, absolutely. But I think if I was AEW, I would hold that up for a while longer. You know what I mean? Like, let's go into. They've already planted seeds with Britt Baker, obviously, right? And no one, like Adam Cole has said nothing about Punk, really. Let's be honest, right?
Right.
So it would make total sense for him just to go after Punk, like totally, right? But it'd be better if Punk gets the AEW Championship for Cole to beat for that title, I think.
With what they did with Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa and Mercedes Martinez and Jamie Hayter last night on Rampage, I feel like the main event of Revolution should be Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker.
Well, I mean, think about it. Look at the history of them two already. Like, I mean, look, remember their last match? It was crazy.
I mean, but if you don't want to headline the pay-per-view with Hangman Page,
it kills Hangman though. It really does.
Does it?
Man.
Because you're still headlining with a
Yeah.
world title. The
Are
women
you?
haven't headlined. You'll get a lot of good press out of the women headlining.
Yeah, but that's at the expense of Hangman, bro. He's ice cold right now, man.
Especially
He's
if
just
Hangman's.
rinsing him with cold water.
That's why you have him lose the title.
And then what? Kick him to the curb like old dog Yeller?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I would do. Actually, I think so.
Wow. Can you believe we're saying that, man?
Yeah, because I've never
Crazy.
been that high on Hangman.
Neither have I, but I mean, I like him. He's got potential. I think it was too much too soon for him, dude. He wasn't ready.
I feel like Hangman Page is evil.
Yeah. I mean,
When they gave the title to Evil in New Japan and they tried to elevate him up the card and thought that the title would make him a bona fide main eventer, and it went over like a fart in church. And I feel like AEW tried to do the same thing with Hangman Page. We're going to have him beat people like Lance Archer. So it looks like he had a couple of defenses of the title when you look at the lineage, and now let's get it the hell off of him.
actually, it's a great comparison because they've got such parallels in every way. They were both part of big stables. One with Los Ingobernables de Japón in Evil.
That's $50, Cody. $50.
That's
Yo,
another
Jimmy
$50.
money now too.
That's right, Cody, and I'm expecting my 50 as soon as possible. But anyway, back to what I was just saying. And you've got Hangman Page, formerly of the Elite and Bullet Club, who's not part of the crew anymore either. What I'm worried about, man, look at Evil, dude. Who the hell is Evil? He might as well be called Gone.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, he's done, man. Like, they've killed him. Like, he's killed. And I'm worried that
Or
with
is he
Hangman
just back to where he always belonged?
That's come on, that's not fair. I think because
Did
I
you
did
ever
like
feel
him.
like Evil was a bona fide New Japan Pro Wrestling main eventer?
No, never. But I did like him during his Los Ingobernables
Yeah,
run.
yeah, he's great as half of the tag team champions.
Right.
And now he's a third of the never open weight 6-man champions. Like, I feel like Evil went right back to where he was on the card and where he never should have
Before.
been elevated
Right.
from.
Even before he became evil in LIJ, dude.
Yep, absolutely. I mean,
You might as well make him a young boy.
well, I mean,
He's
the shoe
just,
fits.
I mean, seriously, and that's the sad part, dude.
Yeah.
I'm worried that we're gonna get that with Hangman. I mean, I'd be bitter if I were him too, dude.
AEW needs to figure out what happens to champions when they lose the title, because Jericho does not feel like a big deal at this point.
Yeah.
Moxley does not feel like a big deal in this point, although there are different
we're getting there,
circumstances
right.
for that. Kenny Omega goes off injured, which might have been the best result for him. We don't know where Hangman goes once he loses the title. Like, how a champion recovers from the loss is such a big part of the character.
Yep.
that and it's really, really difficult that they don't go all Kazu and lose their freaking minds and walk around with balloons for 6 months while they try to
shit.
find themselves. You know what I mean?
They've got nothing to lose at this point. I can picture Hangman going all Kazu, dude. I can.
Oh God.
Seriously,
God.
think about it. One hand with the Jack Daniels, and the other hand with a balloon.
You know what I want to see? I want to see Hangman Page is forced to turn heel. I love turning baby faces
Right.
heel, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
It's
fuck.
just what
Absolutely.
I do, right? But I have him team up with somebody like an absolute Ricky Starks, who takes
That's different.
Hangman out on the streets of Miami and just corrupts this dude. And so like Hangman Page turns into like Damian Priest, where he's walking
Oh.
around in like leather pants, like rock star Hangman Page.
I'm thinking of the Blue Oyster Club at this point,
Like
from Police Academy.
sipping Patron and like, he's become
Come on,
like
man.
party boy Hangman Page.
Come on, dude. I'm getting images right now.
Great.
I'm getting images of that 70s guy, dude. You know, the fat chick
Yes.
Thriller, bro.
Yes. Yes. The first time that they go out, like, Hangman
no.
goes dressed with his frilly jacket and shit, and Ricky Starks is like, "No, bro, we got to get you some real threads." And he
They're
comes
wearing,
walking
like,
out
fucking-
in like leather pants and a cut off t-shirt.
Oh, man. You got some of those old 80s classics playing in the club while they're in there, dude.
Yes. you
Oh,
bet.
no, man. Like,
You bet. He like goes
got
to
all sorts
order
of
a
jack-
beer, and Ricky Starks is like, "No, we don't drink that.
martinis for them.
Give him a dirty martini."
Yeah.
And Hangman's like, "You're gonna give me what?" And it turns out Hangman really likes the dirty martini. Maybe he
Oh,
likes the dirty
no.
martini a little too much.
Too much, if you know what
Yeah.
Oh, no. I don't know why I like the sound of it, right? But it sounds friggin' absurd at the same time, bro. I mean, Jesus Christ. Hell, maybe that's the Stone Cold Steve Austin to Hangman Page, bro.
That's what we do here at the Hameen Media Group. It's channelattitude.com, blowoffpod.com. Find us on social media at the Blowoff. Keep up with me across social media platforms at Not Jargo. Jimmy T, the GAG from the PWC, the COVID kid. Tell the peeps, the freaks, and the Greeks how to keep up with you.
I love that, dude. No one does it better than you, Dr. Jargo. Put it that way. But you can find me on Twitter at PWC Network and also at DJ Mass Effects. And please like and subscribe right here at markmedia.com and Hameen Media Group and also at channelattitude.com.
Yeah, get all the plugs in there. Find me over at the Big Vito brand, of course, over at nodq.com. And right there, blowoffpod.com. We will talk to you next week for a new edition of the Blow Off. For now, we're off like a prom dress. See you at the next show, Hausen.